and this will be our fourth and final class for the intro series. And so I'll begin by just reminding everybody that in meditation, it is often recommended that we begin our practice with a base of mental purity. And that's not a moralistic evaluation or judgment. It's really sort of checking in with yourself to see if there's anything you're kind of thinking about over and over, or anything that's sort of mental baggage or emotional baggage, that if you notice that it's there, that you can actually put it down temporarily, and you can use the time to heal yourself and to refresh yourself, and then you can pick those things back up again and tend to them in a more helpful, healthy way. So that's often a good way to start, is to just close your eyes for a moment. We're not going to do our meditation quite yet. We'll just do this opening practice. So you might take notice of anything that you're carrying tonight that might be a hindrance to meditation practice or to quieting the mind. And so if there's any agitation or stress or any feelings of worry or ill will, anger, some of these kinds of things, again, just take note of them. Notice that they are present in your mind and in your body. And again, just take the opportunity to set them down temporarily. Use your ability to intend to clear the mind, quiet the body. It's also helpful to cultivate some positive states of consciousness as we do this. And so the first one that I like to cultivate is compassion. Just knowing that we ourselves have made mistakes in our lives, and yet we still seek happiness. We still look to end our own suffering. And everyone else, their suffering is the same as ours in that sense. And so we can really open up our heart to compassion and wish that all beings may be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And then from there, loving kindness. May all beings be surrounded by love and by kindness, and may all beings be joyful, and may all beings be equanimous. So being in a state of peace and balance in the mind, in the body, being in a state where nothing is wanted, there is no craving, there's no aversion, there's just this perfect contentment, ease of mind, balance. So focusing on these four, I'll sound the bell. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Namaskar. All right. Well, we'll begin tonight. I have a lot of stuff that I want to share and hope to get to. So we'll start right away with our meditation, and we'll do the same practice that we've been doing at the beginning of the class for the last 3 sessions. And so just a little review on that. We'll begin with what is called samatha, or calm abiding, and we accomplish that by doing the body scan. So it's just a simple awareness of the sensations in the body, just nothing unusual, but we're just looking for temperature, air movement, tickles, itches, just sensations anywhere on the body. This helps us to begin to focus the awareness within the framework of the body and the mind. And it also helps us to become aware of the places where we're holding tension. And so often the tension that we hold is creating feelings of anxiety or feelings of fear or feelings of worry or feelings of anger. You can check in with yourself from time to time if you notice that you're feeling especially upset or bothered by something, and invariably there's going to be a lot of tension in different parts of the body. And checking in with this periodically, you'll start to notice too that it's often in the same places over and over. So for me, I tend to notice it in my jaws. I'll clench my teeth. I also tend to shrug my shoulders. And then I also tend to have tightness in the belly. So becoming aware of those kinds of things, you can just release that over and over and find that your body is much more at ease and peaceful, and then a quiet body is conducive to developing a quiet mind. So from samatha, calm abiding, through the body scan, then we move to anapanasati, which is breathing meditation. And so we just focus our awareness in the triangular area of the nose, and we are aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, the movement of the breath, the touch, and the sensations within the touch of the breath. So this helps to focus the mind to even a finer point, helps us to concentrate, and then we can start to do some of the work of noticing distractions, releasing our habitual reactions to these distractions, and returning to this state of ease in the body and equanimity in the mind. So this is really what we're doing in this basic meditation practice. So we'll start tonight. If you are in a position that's going to work for you for a few minutes, or if you want to change your posture. And remember, you can always move or adjust as we're doing the practice. And it's helpful to start with something you think is going to work for you. And once you've found a comfortable way to sit or to lay, it's helpful to check in with the body and look for symmetry, look for balance. So you're just making sure that you don't have all of your weight on one side of the body as opposed to the other, or that there are muscles on one side doing all the work. You want to just kind of balance that out, have some symmetry. If you're sitting, let your back be straight, but not rigid or tight. And then you can let your eyes close softly. We do that to eliminate visual distractions. And you can let your breath just be free and natural. Let it do whatever it wants to do. And then from here, I'll sound the bell and begin to guide us through the practice. And keep in mind that if we're still for a period of time, that the lights will possibly go out, and then if we move, the lights will come back on. So just to be aware of that so no one's alarmed by it if it happens. All right, so I'll sound the bell, and then I'll begin to guide us through the practice. Follow the sound of the bell as it fades into silence, and let the silence be a very welcoming invitation to turn your senses inward. And this is something that we often avoid just because we're used to projecting the mind outward and being engaged in the world around us, being curious and interested, interacting with the world around us. But just take the opportunity to turn your senses inward, become aware of the sense of presence you have in your own body. Just the feeling of being here in this moment. Establish that sense of presence, that sense of awareness within your body. And with that sense of awareness established, let's bring the awareness up to the top part of the head and to the area of the scalp. And spend just a few moments opening up the awareness to any physical sensations in the scalp. And sometimes it takes a few moments of patience and attentive observation. And you might become aware of sensations like temperature in the scalp, feeling of warmth or coolness. Or you might become aware of a sensation of air movement. Sometimes there are sensations on the surface of the skin, like a little tickle or an itch. Sometimes just a pulsation. So you're opening up your awareness to any physical sensations in the scalp. If you happen to notice any tension in the scalp, you can release the tension. We sometimes use the image of a butterfly for releasing tension. That if you maybe found a butterfly in your home on a warm summer day, somehow it had gotten inside. And if you saw the butterfly on the windowsill, you might walk up and very gently cup it in your hands, carry it outside, and release it into the trees or into the grass. You might smile as you let it go and wish it well. You can work with your own tension in the same way, just with a real compassionate heart, a softness. Just release the tension, let it leave the body, and then continue to observe the sensations in the area, maintaining a continuity of awareness. And then from the scalp, we can move the awareness downward into the forehead, into the temples, down through the eyebrows, and into the eyes. Once again, just open up the awareness to the physical sensations. You notice that physical sensations arise and pass away. They come and go. And they change while they are present. So as you observe these sensations, there's no need to react to them in any way. Just try to notice them, have the experience, let go of the thoughts. If there's tension in any of these areas, if your brow is furrowed, or maybe your temples are tight, or perhaps your eyes are squinted a little bit, just soften that up, let the tension leave the body, and continue to observe. And then from the temples, really try to feel the movement of awareness traveling down into the ears. And once the awareness is in the ears, you can bring it forward. Let it pass through the cheekbones and into the face. And as we move through these different parts of the body, again, just open up to sensation. Notice them as they come and go. Notice any tension and release. And then continue to observe the sensations. Maintain this continuity of awareness. From the eyes, you can let the awareness move downward through the nose. Let it pass through the lips and mouth and chin. And check in for areas of tension. Maybe your teeth are clenched a little or your lips are pursed. So if there's tension, just release. Let it leave the body and continue to observe the sensations. Keep in mind that there's no sensation that you need to be feeling or that you shouldn't feel. You're just opening up to whatever the reality is for you in this moment. And from the chin, you can begin to move the awareness downward into the neck. Feel it moving into the throat, and then back through the sides of the neck, back of the neck, observing the sensations and releasing tension. From the neck, allow the awareness to flow downward into the shoulders. Again, noticing sensations, letting tension go, letting the shoulders drop. In the shoulders, you may notice different sensations, perhaps the sensation of contact between your shoulders and the floor or a surface if you're leaning against it. Or you might notice the sensation of contact between your skin and your clothing. So these are just more sensations to be aware of. From the shoulders, we can let our awareness move downward into the upper arms. Start to move it through the different parts of the upper arms, the biceps, and then the inside part from the underarms all the way down to the elbows, and the backs of the arms or the triceps, and then the outside part of the arms. Again, just moving that flow of awareness part by part, observing sensations, letting tension leave the body, maintaining an awareness of sensation. Feel the awareness moving down through the elbow joints, down through the forearms and into the wrists. And feel it as it moves further down into the hands, the heels of the hands and the palms, and then the tops of the hands, the thumbs and the fingers. Different sensations in each part. Let tension go. Then bring your awareness all the way down into your fingernails. And just give it a few moments. See if you can become aware of any sensations in the fingernails. And sometimes there are just very subtle sensations. Notice them. And then from the tips of the fingers, we'll maintain our continuity of awareness as we bring it up to the top of the chest. You can start at the collarbones, allow the awareness to start moving downward through the chest, observing and releasing, all the way down to the base of the sternum. And then feel the awareness spread outward through the rib cage. And then from here, you can bring the awareness to the underarms. Notice as the awareness flows down through the sides of the body, all the way to the waist, illuminating these parts with awareness, noticing the sensations, letting go of all tension. And then from the waist, you can bring the awareness forward into the belly. Become aware of the rising and falling of the belly with the breath, or sensations of expansion and contraction. If there's tension in the belly, just soften, release the tension, let it leave the body. Continue to observe the sensations. There's often an increased feeling of peacefulness and ease in the body after releasing tension. And from the belly, we'll bring the awareness around to the top of the back, starting at the base of the neck, letting the awareness flow downward through the shoulder blades and the upper third of the back, observing, releasing, staying present with sensation, moving downward through the middle third of the back, and then the lower part of the back. Sometimes moving through different parts of the body, and often the back, we might come upon sensations that are unpleasant, uncomfortable, and sometimes we'll notice a little reaction in the form of aversion, a disliking, or a not wanting to accept those unpleasant sensations. But notice how right now, in the spaciousness and stability of your own awareness, that you can just allow as much space as is needed for those difficult sensations to be, just as they are. It's not necessary to push against them or dislike them. You can just let them be in the expansiveness of your awareness. Allow the tension around them to go. And then from the lower part of the back, we'll move the awareness downward, feel it passing through the sit bones, through the hips and through the pelvis, observing the sensations, letting tension go. Continue moving the awareness down into the thighs, all the way from the tops down to the knees, observing the top surface of the thighs, the outer surface, then the underside, finally the inside of the thighs. We try to give our attention to each part of the body, letting those sensations become known by our awareness and letting the tension go. Letting awareness pass through the knees now, working with difficult sensations, if there are any, by allowing extra space, by releasing, by accepting what is true in the present moment without rejecting it. Allow the awareness to pass through the calves and shins, and feel it as it begins to move down through the ankles, finally moving into the feet. Observe the sensations in the different parts, the heels, and then the soles, the tops of the feet, the toes, and then down into the toenails. Just give it a little time, see if there's any sensations there. And now from the toenails, we'll bring the awareness once again up to the top of the head and to the area of the scalp. And this time, at your own pace, you can just begin to move your awareness back down through the body, part by part. Try to follow the same path that we followed together, just so nothing is missed or forgotten. Notice the places in the body where tension has reappeared. Perhaps after releasing it just a couple minutes ago, tension kind of creeps back. And this is that habit energy that we've talked about. The habit of the mind and the body working together, generating tension in different parts of the body as a reaction to stress, as a reaction to anger or fear, sadness. Any of these normal human emotions, but the body will react with tension. It will hold that tension. And as it holds the tension, it also echoes the difficult emotions that may have caused it. So by simply being aware and releasing, we can calm the body and the mind. Just begin to set ourselves free. And once you've had an opportunity to move your awareness all the way back down through your body, you can bring it up to the base of the nose. We'll just take a few moments to focus on the little patch of skin there beneath the nostrils and above the upper lip. And then from that little patch of skin, you can expand the awareness into the rings of the nostrils. And then expand a little further into the nasal passages. So now we have this triangular area of the nose with our awareness focused here. Just become aware of the movement of the breath in and out through the nose. Breathing in, just be aware that you're breathing in. Breathing out, just be aware that you're breathing out. Try to stay with the full duration of the breath. So stay with the in-breath as it begins, kind of slows and pauses momentarily. Then it becomes the out-breath. Stay with the out-breath. Observe as it slows and pauses, and then it becomes the next in-breath. Stay with the movement of the breath in and out. And as you observe the movement of the breath, expand the awareness so that you take in the sensations of touch. Anywhere in the triangular area of the nose, as the breath moves in and out, be aware of that sensation of touch. And as you observe the sensation of touch, become aware of some of the subtleties within it. Breathing in, the air feels a bit cooler. Breathing out, the air feels a bit warmer. Breathing in, the air feels a bit drier. Breathing out, the air feels a bit more moist. And just observe the movement of the breath, the touch and sensations of the breath. If any distractions arise and they pull the awareness away from the breath, in the moment that you notice these distractions, you can simply guide the awareness back to the nose, return to the triangular area of the nose, and reestablish awareness of the movement and the touch and the sensations of the breath. And distractions will come and go, sometimes as sounds in the building or the room. If awareness moves away from the breath, just notice that, guide it back gently. If you become aware of distractions, of sensations, maybe somewhere in the body, fatigue or a tickle or an itch, becoming aware of the distraction, again, just guide the awareness gently back to the nose. Return to the breath. Do it over and over, not reacting to any distraction, just returning to the breath. And you may find that the mind wanders from time to time, imagining or remembering, sometimes planning. If you notice the mind has wandered, just guide it back to the nose. Return the awareness to the breath. Focus once again on the movement of the breath and the touch and the sensations within the triangular area of the nose. And repeat that over and over as often as you need to. And let's share a few minutes of silent meditation together. Just remain focused on the breath. In a few minutes I'll sound the bell to end the practice. Just take a little time to bring the awareness back to the room. Sometimes it's helpful to move your body around a little bit, kind of reactivate the joints, do a little stretching. You can even stand if you'd like. But as you do make this transition, you can still keep the peacefulness with you. You can move back into awareness of the room and the conversation and the discussion, but still keep the peacefulness. And you'll find that this is one of the real benefits of meditation, that the more you do it, the more it just stays with you. And one of the other great benefits is that you'll start to notice from firsthand experience that sometimes we're reacting to things with negativity. And when we notice that, we can allow that extra space for things that we're sometimes negative about. Just allow that extra space for that stuff to be just the way it is. And it doesn't mean that we don't take action to change things that are real problems. We do that. But many of the things that we get uptight about or we push against, many of those things are just the way life is in that moment. And so sometimes we say it's not what's happening that's important, so much as it's our relationship to what's happening that's important. So sometimes we feel kind of worn out by life, and a lot of times it's just due to reacting habitually over and over to things, not liking them, rejecting them, wanting things to be different than they are. And again, it's perfectly fine to take action or to make changes when it's necessary, but you can notice how often that the resistance or the negativity is about something just very trivial, or sometimes just something imagined, not even necessarily true in the present moment. So these are some of the observations that many people who start to meditate will experience. Just noticing these little things, and it's kind of neat. Just notice it, and wow, there's that. There's a little thing I wrote on the source of unhappiness. This is based on the teachings in the suttas. There are things I want and things I don't want. The more I personalize the wanting and not wanting, the more my happiness becomes conditional upon it. So this is what we refer to as craving or clinging or aversion. So when we have those experiences combined with this strong sort of ego identification or personalization of these ideas, this is what is known as attachment. And according to the teachings, attachment is the source of suffering. So it's this perpetual wanting something to be different than it actually is, wanting something not to happen that we think might happen, wishing something that did happen didn't happen. Lots of these little things. And it's not to say that it is wrong to think this way, but it is a reminder for us to look at it and just notice how that is what causing the agitation in the mind. So the formula is simple: reducing any amount of craving, clinging, aversion, or this strong ego identification or personalization. Reducing any amount of any of those will reduce attachment, and attachment is the cause of unhappiness. When the unhappiness of attachment subsides, we can see things clearly, and we can start to reconnect with our authentic selves, or with our true nature. One of the images that I share in the book is the idea of a snow globe. And I think I may have even mentioned that in the first or the second class here, which is, if you pick up a snow globe, it's the movement of it, it's the agitation that causes the snowflakes to swirl around inside. And you could imagine that each one of those snowflakes is like a thought in the mind, or a memory, or a plan, or an idea, or an image. And for most of us, our minds in every given moment, we're just flashing through lots of different things randomly. And so there's this constant sort of agitation, making these snowflakes fly around. In meditation, it's like taking the snow globe and just setting it on the table, and then just watching as nature takes its course. Just the law of physics takes over, and all that stuff settles. And the mind is really very much like that. We can allow it to settle. We can let those things settle down to the bottom, and then we get this clarity back. And so sometimes we talk about letting go of attachment, and then people wonder, well, does that mean I'm just sort of not caring if people are abusive to me, or, if there's bad situations, am I just supposed to accept it? And no, we take action when it's prudent. We take action when we need to take action. But one of the things is that when we're not reacting to all the little tiny things that aren't really important, then we really have energy left over to focus on the things that are. So that's one of the things that I've found in this practice, is that I'm just not beating myself up about ideas that I have of, what I should make for income, or, what I should have for material possessions, or how I should look at, age 52 or whatever it is. Letting go of all of that stuff. Then if something really important comes up, I've got the mental horsepower, the emotional horsepower to deal with it. So it's very helpful. So you look at it almost as just saving your energy for what really matters. And then you find if somebody comes to you who sometimes will have the experience of in a friendship or in a partnership type relationship, somebody comes to you with troubles, and you feel so worn out yourself that you feel like, I just don't have anything left to give, and it's sort of difficult to help them. But with this practice, you'll find that, there's that reserve. It's just there, and you're able to help people as they come to you. And so that's a wonderful thing. Then we start to feel good about that. It's in part, that's the appreciative joy aspect of the practice. So in this meditation, as we did it tonight, when we are spending a few minutes with the breath, that's usually when we start to notice the different distractions coming up. And this is where we can begin to do the practice of Vipassana, which was the title of the handout from last week. So everybody has one of those. But Vipassana, it's a Pali word. It means insight. It means insight based on personal experience. So what we're doing in the Vipassana practice is we're focused on the nose, focused on the breath, and then anything that's powerful enough to pull our awareness away, then that's the thing that we deal with. And the way we deal with it is to release it and simply redirect the awareness back to the nose and back to the breath. And so there is this intentional returning to equanimity. And again, equanimity, in the dictionary, it means maintaining a peaceful balance in the mind, especially if things are difficult or challenging. But in the practice, it also means letting go of any craving or aversion intentionally and directing the mind to a place of non-attachment or detachment. The detachment is not a cold checking out or a not caring. Rather, it is an intentional movement of the mind to a place of freedom from craving and aversion, and their inevitable result, which is suffering, agitation, unsatisfactoriness. So we're doing that as a practice. Distraction comes up. Oh, there's a sound. Mind goes to the sound. What is it? Is it disturbing me? Is it making it hard for me to concentrate? There's a little feeling of aversion sometimes around the sound. We had some folks walking down the hall out there and there was some noise. Sometimes those kinds of experiences will come up and you'll find yourself kind of saying, oh, I wish they'd be quiet, in the hall. Noticing that, just noticing, oh, there's a little bit of aversion there. What if I just say, oh, it's okay. It's just some boys in the hall. It's okay. I can just let that be. Let me go back to my breath. Just that simple thing. What we're doing when we do that is we're training the mind to take a different course. So instead of allowing it to just follow its usual habit, which is, oh, I wish the guys would be quiet in the hallway. Or, I wish that pain in my back was gone. It's really bothering me. Some of these kinds of things. Instead, we release it. We let go of the aversion, or we let go of the craving. These are both reactions to those distractions, whether they're sounds or physical sensations in the body, or memories, or thoughts, images, any of those things. We're just guiding the mind back, the awareness, to the breath, using that as an anchor to kind of reattach to mentally, just focus on. And then we're letting go of any of our reactions. Just letting go and noticing that peacefulness. That's just automatic. I let go of my reaction to the sound and just say it's okay for sound to be that way. I don't need anything special. Just whatever is here is the way it is. And you can't change it. I mean, nobody was going to get up and tell the boys, hey, we're meditating, be quiet. So the reality of the situation was going to be as it was, no matter what. So it was just our relationship to it. I didn't like it. Well, then I suffered a little bit. Or I just say, that's the way it is. Let me focus on my breath. So this is a practice. This is a practice that we do. It's very specific, and we do it as part of the meditation. And that's the time to do it. It's really, until you've had quite a bit of time working with it, it's not as easily done just kind of as you're walking around in the supermarket or these kinds of things. It's really helpful to do it in meditation practice, because then you really establish this pattern. Noticing distractions, using those as an opportunity to establish equanimity intentionally. So you're changing a habit pattern in the mind, changing the habit pattern, changing away from negative reaction to just peacefulness, to release. And then you'll start to see that spreading out into just normal aspects of life. I would sometimes kind of surprise myself in a good way, where I would become aware of things that were happening, situations that I would have normally gotten kind of uptight about or upset about, or I would have reacted to pretty strongly. And maybe people around me are reacting to it, and I just sort of notice, oh, hey, I was just sort of okay with it, So, and again, I'm not talking about not taking action when action is necessary, but just for most of the stuff we get upset about, it's just pointless. It's just stuff that really doesn't matter. It's going to be as it is anyway. So if it's going to be that way, do you want to get stressed out about it or not? And one of the kind of images I sometimes share to help people think about this is a polygraph test, which you've probably seen on TV. They hook a person up. One of the things that they're measuring is perspiration levels in the hands. They're measuring heart rate. They're measuring blood pressure. Lots of very subtle sensations on the body. And of course, we observe sensations on the body. But what they've discovered in science is, of course, that whenever a person is under stress because they're lying or they're not telling the truth, that the body reacts in all these different ways. And so in a way, I think what we're doing is sort of being aware of that same type of science, and we're saying, yeah, there's tension in the body, every time I'm reacting with negativity. So if I can begin to train my mind not to react with negativity, my body is at this state of ease and peacefulness. So that's a little review on the Vipassana technique that we talked about last week. And that one, of course, is on the website, so you might want to listen to that. And it's one that's, you had mentioned, you listened to it a second time and got more out of it. And yeah, it's one of those that kind of sinks in as you do it. But there's material, of course, in the handout, and then on the website and in the book as well. So you just start to look at all of those little distractions in meditation and then in your life in a broader context as opportunities to practice. Because really, in some ways, getting angry about everything, that's a practice too. At some point, if there's like a child who grows up in an environment where every time something, marginally difficult happens, that a parent blows up, well, the child learns that, right? And then they do the exact same thing when they're adults. So the mind is being trained, a habit pattern is being developed, and so again, we're able to change those habit patterns in the mind with this practice. It's very powerful, very helpful. Any questions on this stuff so far? This is still the same practice we did on day one. We're just sort of learning more about it. So we're doing the same thing, but we're starting to understand all these different kind of layers within the practice and why we do it the way we do it and what the benefit of that is. So, and this is still, after all these years of meditating, this is still the same practice that I do all the time. This is my daily, this is the one, Vipassana. And so I'll go through that body scan, through the breathing meditation, and then just let nature take its course. Distractions happen, work with them. Work with them. And the world gives you plenty of material to do that with. And remember, if you do have any questions on this stuff, do feel free to email me or text me or call me. This is what I want to do and help people with. So, I want to share a slightly different type of practice with you with some of the time that we have remaining tonight. This one is in tonight's handout. It's called Taming the Monkey Mind. And so I'll just read from the handout a little bit. If you observe your own mind, you'll notice it likes to keep moving. It's never satisfied with one object for very long. The mind is easily distracted and agitated. It jumps from thought to thought as if it's looking for something. It doesn't know what, but it'll probably know it when it finds it. In the ancient meditation texts, this phenomena is referred to as the monkey mind. And so there's images, descriptions in the old suttas from 25 centuries ago, talking about monkeys swinging from tree branch to tree branch, never holding still for very long, always being kind of agitated, and that's kind of the way the mind is. Just as a monkey swinging through a forest wilderness grabs a branch, letting go of it, it grabs another branch, letting go of that, it grabs another one, letting go of that, it grabs another one. In the same way, what's called mind, intellect, or consciousness, by day and by night, arises as one thing and ceases as another. So this is kind of this idea of the monkey mind. There's a great teacher, Thanissaro Bhikkhu, who describes this monkey mind phenomena as, he calls it hopping trains. It's like hopping trains. You're in one train, you're kind of riding along in the car. I don't know if anybody did that. I used to do that a little bit when I was a little kid, and I can't believe I actually did that. But, because, not very bright thing to do. But he talks about it as like hopping trains. The mind, gets in one car, rides along for a little while, then it jumps off, jumps onto another one. Rides that one for a little while, jumps off, rides another one. Once in a while, you'll bump into some pretty rough characters. Sometimes it'll be a little scary, but so that's kind of how the mind is. It's always kind of engaging, disengaging, jumping from car to car, from branch to branch. But if you have the experience of a monkey mind, that you're just really agitated, really bothered by something, really having difficulty calming down, there's a practice, kind of a specific practice that we can do to work with that. So in this one, this is a little different from our regular meditation practice, in that we're going to do a few specific things. But in the doing of the few specific things, we're giving the mind, we're giving the monkey something to keep it busy. And so as we go through this little practice, you'll find that it has a real benefit for centering the mind, quieting the mind, and for helping you disengage from whatever it is that's a troubling or difficult thought. A little note that I have in here is that out of the 5 vital organs in the body, they're called the vital organs, the brain, heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. Out of all those, the only one that we can directly impact just through will is the function of the lungs. And we call that anapana. Anapanasati is awareness of respiration. So in meditation, the breath is recognized as being a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is where the monkey lives. And so by doing some breath work, we can quiet the mind. And this is a great one if you are prone to having anxiety attacks. I used to have anxiety attacks a lot. And I would go to my doctor, get a prescription for Xanax, which works, I guess, but it also kind of dulls you down to a point where you just feel sort of disconnected from everything and just sort of dull mentally. It kind of takes it takes any of the pleasure out of life away with it. You're not having an anxiety attack, but you're also just kind of, numb. And so this practice has been especially helpful to me in anxiety or panic situations. So that's one of the reasons I want to share it with you. So I'd like to just do it together as a way of teaching it. We're going to do 3 different things, though, with the breath. We're going to count the breath for a while. Then we're going to do what we call measuring the breath, which is we get an idea of how long the in-breath takes and how long the out-breath takes. And then we're going to do a little breath expansion, which is we're going to change the duration of the breath. So this is just enough stuff to do mentally to begin to focus the mind on something that begins to be very helpful in terms of letting go of stress. One of the things you might notice if you find yourself super anxious or upset or angry or worried, check in with your breath. It is not going to be full and natural. It's usually very shallow. It's usually maybe feels like the top quarter of your lungs. It's, your breath changes when you're stressed out. So if you look at this as kind of a two-way street, the breath being this bridge, well, if you get the breath, if you manipulate the breath in a healthy, positive way, you can let go of the stress and the tension. So it's kind of a two-way street. So we'll do this together because I think it's more helpful than explaining it through the text. So I just invite you to, wherever you are, it's not a real long one, so you can just close your eyes right where you are and just, imagine that you might try doing this in your car in a parking lot if you were going into a difficult meeting, or maybe laying in bed if you're, if you got a phone call with some difficult news or something. So at the moment that you become aware that the mind is troubled, you can start to do this. So just close the eyes, again, to eliminate distractions, eliminate some of them, and then try to eliminate any obvious conflict in the body. If you're super stressed or worried or angry, a lot of times there is going to be that tension in the body in the different parts. So maybe check in with the places where you've noticed this habitual tension and just release it. Soften up the body, let go of those obvious places of tension. And then from here, what we're going to do is just count the breath. And we're going to count 10 breaths. So breathing in, that's 1. Breathing out, that's 1. Breathing in, that's 2. Breathing out, that's 2. Breathing in, 3. Breathing out, 3. Breathing in, 4. Breathing out, 4. Breathing in, 5. Breathing out, 5. Breathing in, 6. Breathing out, 6. Breathing in, 7. Breathing out, 7. Breathing in, 8. Breathing out, 8. Breathing in, 9. Breathing out, 9. Breathing in, 10. Breathing out, 10. And now we'll just let go of the breath. We'll prepare to do the second part of the practice, which is what we call breath measuring. So we're just going to get an idea of how long our in-breath is, how long our out-breath is. So, and this number might be different for each one of us, but as you breathe in, just time it for yourself. So breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3. So a count of 3 is maybe average for me for an in-breath and an out-breath. So just observe your breath and count. Breathing in, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. 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 Now you can let go of the breath again. What we just did was to measure the breath for 10 breath cycles. So each in-breath and out-breath is a breath cycle. So we just measured 10 breath cycles, averaging them out to about a count of 3 in and a count of 3 out. The next part of the practice is we're going to begin to expand the length of the in-breath and the out-breath. So this is what is sometimes known as a pranayama, or a breathing exercise. But because we're going to manipulate the breath a little bit, if you feel uncomfortable in any way as we're doing this, just let go of it and return to a normal breathing. So if you feel lightheaded or anything like that. So we'll begin with just that count of 3 again. We'll do this together. Breathing in, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. Breathing in, 2, 3. Breathing out, 2, 3. And now we're going to expand the breath by one more count. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Now breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4. And now we'll go to 5. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll go to 6. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now 7. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now to 8. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now 9. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once more. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll finish with 10. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And one last time. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now let go of the breath. Just let the breath return to whatever pace it wants to be at. Continue to breathe full breaths in and out. Allow the body to rest. And then you can open your eyes. I'm going to come back to the room and talk about this for a minute. So a couple interesting things about this. And you'll find that it's even more true if you are doing this yourself, because I was doing the counting, of course, and so you were able to just follow along. When you're doing the counting for yourself, and you're just doing it subvocally, but when you're doing the counting, you're giving your mind something specific, a specific task to focus on, and it's all related to the breath. So the first thing is, just again, imagine yourself, and I've done this, and boy, it works. I was going through kind of a stressful experience, sitting in my car in a parking lot, and I did the practice. And so just counting the breath, 10 breaths. Just doing that, you're starting to, it's just like collecting the mind, kind of bringing it to this specific task. And just see if you can get to 10. Just see if you can do that. And then do the measuring. Just measure the breath up to 3. And then that last part, the pranayama, really, we get up to 10. We started at 3, where we actually find that we can get to 10 on the in-breath and 10 on the out-breath. And we're really filling the lungs with air. And then we're really pushing, diaphragm down, down, down. And so all of this air moving through the body. So the oxygen entering the body and the focusing of the mind on these specific tasks that are just enough to kind of give the monkey something to chew on. So it's not super difficult, like some intellectual puzzle that you need to solve. It's just counting and breathing, but it's enough, to give the mind something to do and to calm you down. So I really encourage you to try this one if you're going through a difficult time. It's just been wonderful for me, very helpful. Better than a Xanax. Because it does. What's that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you ever seen those things called Huberman? I think they're called Huberman. Yeah, it's like a plastic ball, and it's
They're multicolored.
yeah, they're multicolored, and you can order them online much cheaper than you can get them anywhere else. But
Jointed?
pardon?
They're jointed?
Yes, and you just hold them, and as you breathe out, you pull the ball out and it expands, and as you breathe in or exhale, you bring it in. And I was introduced to that idea because sometimes I'd be running late, because I'm kind of habitually late, as you may notice. And then I get worked up about being late. And so all I would do is do that like 3, 4, 5 times, and I was like, the stress was gone.
Yeah.
And in DBT we learned something called square breathing, where you can't get way into that deep breath yet, but you just picture a square in your head, and each breath is one line in the square.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing that, like, it just brings you down from agitation very quickly, and without, like you said, without having to think much or do anything else. And like in the car, if you're agitated, or you're trapped in rush hour traffic, that doesn't happen in Emery too much. Other things might.
Yeah. It very true, and I think there's a beauty to the simplicity of it, because again, you're not like trying to do a lot of sort of self-talk where sometimes we say, oh, don't worry about it, it's gonna be, we're kind of talking to ourselves almost like a therapist would, or like a close friend would. But of course, what that does is it's sort of immersing us in the experience. So this is really designed to give the mind something to do that's simple enough, but also complicated enough to actually require those cognitive resources to be focused.
It is amazing, really, how much time we do really have to redefine our state of mind. If we just allow ourselves.
Yeah.
Just give ourselves permission.
Yes. Yeah.
Life.
Right.
If we just let that happen.
Yeah, we really do have a whole lot more to say about it than we think we do.
The only thing happens what I find is when I'm driving now, there's always people passing me, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, well, I'm only going 55.
Just be the
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but for me, it's like, and now is this because I'm getting to be an old lady that I'm becoming, a slower driver? But it's like, I'm not in a hurry,
No.
and a lot of times I'll just put my blinker on and pull over now. Or if I see a bunch of people lining up behind me, I just pull off the road and let them all go by me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it's like, rather than get agitated about, oh, he's a tailgater or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just so freeing, like you were saying, there's a power in it, and it's freeing, and it's like you're taking charge of the situation in a peaceful way.
Yeah, you're deciding what your relationship is going to be to the current reality. I had a very similar experience a lot in that I used to commute from New Richmond into the Twin Cities every day. And for a big part of the first 20 minutes or so, you're on the back roads like you are around here, and invariably I'd get behind someone who had the audacity to drive the speed limit, and so I'm thinking, where's my opportunity to pass this person? How can I get around them? And of course, a lot of these roads, it's pretty difficult to pass, if the curving roads and things. And so I found, once I started this practice, it was like, this is sort of the way we approach life in many ways. We're just sort of creating out of nothing this big contest or this big conflict that doesn't need to be there. And so I found that I could back off, put a couple 100 yards between me and the car in front of me, and then just put it on cruise at whatever speed this person is going, and it's like I'm free.
Yeah.
And the only thing that changed was my attitude or my relationship to the idea that this person wasn't going fast enough and was preventing me from going as fast as I should be able to go. And that is just living in attachment in that. So in many ways, it's these simplest of experiences that are really the eye-openers. But that's why they refer to Vipassana as insight, but it's insight based on personal experience over and over, and just deriving that great wisdom from the way life unfolds. So, well, we are at the end of our time. I just want to thank you all for being here. It was really great sharing this practice with you, and I hope you find it helpful. And please do remember that if you have any questions, I'm available. And we'll be opening the Meditation Center in May, so I hope to see you there. I'll be posting information on the website, so you can make it for the grand opening. Probably do a few different things to kind of get that going. So thank you so much. I want to Thank you. I want to close with just this one last time together. Okay, and let's just share it. So again, the first one is compassion. The idea that all beings could be free from suffering and from the causes of suffering. And so feeling that in your heart, really just feeling that coming out of you, that's the feeling of compassion. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. And may all beings be surrounded by love and kindness. May all beings be happy and joyful. And may all beings be free, peaceful, equanimous, at a place where there is no craving, no aversion, just peace, just peace. Namaskar. Thank you. Thank you. And as I said, they are requesting the survey, so it's optional, but if you have a moment, what we'll do is we'll stick them right in the envelope and seal it, so you can be as critical as you need to be. Here's that. Do you have a pen, or do you use that one?
Is it okay to use a pencil?
Yep, absolutely.